All right, I see people are finding me. Hi, Joanne and Ronnie. Hi, Cindy. We'll wait one more minute, see if we can get a few more people to find us. So Donna's joined us. Welcome. And there's Sue. Hello. All right. I don't have too much housekeeping stuff tonight. This is the new host code for the month. If you go to my blog, Facebook page and you want to select some card kits, they've been posted. I think that's about it. Upcoming crop in April. That's also on my business page. So it looks like we got a few people here, so I guess I'll get ready and get started. Thank you, Ronnie, for sharing. All right, so we're going to make a couple of really fun cards tonight. We're going to make, this is a pop-up box. You can see it from the top mode. For some reason it doesn't, this one doesn't, I think I bent it the wrong way. There it goes. So it stands up like that. And then this is the front of it. Okay, so I will get started. I do have another sample that I'll show you on the end. This one I'm going to make with the beautiful seafoam paper. So this is 4 1/4 by 10 1/2. We need to score it at different places. So I'm going to just use my paper cutter for this one. The score blade on my paper cutter. So the first score mark I want to make is a 1/2 inch. I just love this Easter Fun stamp set. And then we're going to score it at 1 3/4. 3 3/4. And then 5. We're making this little box part right here that you see. Hi Tammy, I see Tammy's joined us. So this last score mark is 5 inches. Then this little piece here is it was a scrap. You can make it anywhere between 2 and 2 1/2. Mine happens to be 2 1/4 by 6. And I want to score that at a 1/2 inch. When I have less than an inch, I score it this way first because it gives me more to hold on to. And then I flip it for the next score mark. So then we want 1 3/4 again. So this is 2 pieces. This one right here is all 1 piece. And then this little box edge is 1 piece. So let me grab a bone folder and burnish all of these score marks. You want to fold it like you're folding a box. Now, you can see that there's a ridge here. And then there's the score mark. You always fold into the ridge. Then I'm going to fold this back. I want to sort of like create a box. Even though it's just a partial box. So that's ready. So then this one here has 4 score lines. A 1/2 inch, 1 3/4, 3 3/4, and 5. So we're going to fold it like a box. I'm folded into that ridge. This is the 1/2 inch. This is the 1 3/4. 3 3/4. And 5. So you can see that we want to make sure that this is nice and straight. So what I like to do, just to be sure, this amount here is 2 inches. So I want to make sure that I put that fold. I'm just going to take a little stylus and make a mark. You could use a pencil mark because they won't see it anyways. So I'm going to do that just so that you can see it as well. You go grab a pencil here. So I have the fold on 2 inches. I'm going to make a little tick mark over here. And do the same on this side, just to help keep me straight. I don't know about you, but sometimes that's a problem for me. I see Cindy's joined us. Hello, hello. Welcome. So happy to see you all here. So we need to use some strong tape. Here's some right here. I don't have my little credit card here, so I'll use my bone folder. You could use a block. That's why it's called tearing tape. Peel off that protective backing. And then remember that I had these little marks, so now I know exactly where to line this up. A little hard for me to see over the camera. Sorry if you see my head. Alright. Looks good. Oops. So now I'm going to take my bone folder and really burnish that. Alright, so we have 2 pieces. One of them is going to go right here. And I used a lot of stamps, as you can see. So I'm going to show you another trick that I like to do. It's probably not a good business move, but that's just how I am. I like to create a little scallop circle to do my clouds that you see here. So I'm going to go grab the Pool Party and my blending brush, which is right here somewhere. My desk is too small for everything that I have here. Grab another one, it's fine. So what I do is I put some of that removable tape. I am using a piece of shimmer and white just because it works a little better. So I'm going to show you what I do. I'm using Pool Party ink. Picking some up. Sorry if I'm shaking the camera. I'm going to put a little bit across the edge here. Then I just keep moving this down. I know some of you are probably saying, Karine, we sell a cloud punch now, but those of you that know me well, I have to be able to think of 5 or 6 things spontaneously that I can do with something before I buy it. That's just my method. I can't buy something just because it only does one thing. So I'm going to continue on. And you can make them all different ways. There's no, clouds aren't perfect. You can even turn this upside down. I just would recommend a new one for every color that you have. So doesn't that look like clouds? I see Diane and Connie have found me. Alright, so now I want to put a few chicks. Let me get all my stamps out. I'm going to line them up right here. I'm going to use a lot of them. Grass. Baby chicks. Alright, so we need some yellow for the baby chicks. You don't see them too much, but I'm putting one a little bit off. Oops, I must have used a different yellow. That's okay. More than one way to skin a cat, right? And don't make them so perfect, because you know chicks don't walk in order. Then we're going to take a little bit of grass. I like that we have a grass stamp in this set. You know me and grass. So I'm overlapping it a little bit. And I'm going to come back just to make different heights. Then I'm going to grab my orange regular marker, Stampin' White marker, just give my little chicks an orange beak. And then we can see a little bit of their feet. Because I use dye-based ink, that's why I'm using the markers. This marker versus the blends. Okay, so that part's done. Now I want to stamp this part here where it's just grass. So I want to put a little bit of that pool party. So again, start off your paper and just rub very gently. You can always put more, but you can't take it off. So you're better off to add layers, as I like to call it. And I'm even going to go all the way down to where I'm doing the grass. Alright. That looks great to me. And I'm going to grab Garden Green. And let's stamp some grass. This time I'm going to stamp a couple of times before I re-ink. Don't be afraid. It always looks better when it's done. There, that looks good. You can always use your blending brush if you want. Then, so that's this piece. I need one more piece. Grab a piece of cardstock here. For this piece here. Grab my cutter, which is right here. I know I need it to be 2 by 2 by, let's see what this is for, so 1 3/4, 3 3/4. Alright, so now we're going to stamp the Sweet Sweet Bunny in Smokey Slate. This is a big stamp, so you can either walk your stamp pad over the stamp, and sometimes that helps. I'm trying to center it in my piece. Just going to hold it there for a few minutes. Let the ink gravitate. Then my second tip for you guys is I have a mask here. So I'm going to show you how I create that. See if I'm going to post a note nearby. So there's the sweet bunny. So there's probably enough on here. It won't get the whole thing because my post-it note's not big enough. But you want to stamp as close to the where it's sticky as you can. I just want to show you how to cut it. And I keep these right in my case, so if I need them in the future, I have it. Just like this little cloud, I'll keep that. Oh, I guess I used it all. Let me re-ink it so you can see it better. I can see it, but you probably can't on the camera. What's really important when you're creating a mask is that you cut inside the outside line. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. And the reason that you do that, if you cut the outside line, you left it, you would create a halo when you're trying to use your blending brush. So I'm going to take my paper snips. I'm not going to cut the whole thing out. I just want to show you. So you can see that that's the edge. I'm cutting that right off. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I'll do half of it so you can see. So you can see, you don't see the edge of the bunny. You just see some of the shadowing. So let me take this. Take my stamped bunny, because I don't want my bunny to be pool party. So when I put this on, I should see the edge of my bunny, which I'll push it up a little bit so you can see it. Now we're going to grab Pool Party again. That same blending brush that we've been using. And I'm going to start off and come onto my paper in a circular motion. It doesn't matter if you go circular or up and down. What matters is that you use the same direction. So if you start out going up and down, you need to finish the whole card in an up and down motion. If you start out in a circular motion like I'm doing, you want to keep doing it that way. And I'm coming in again. And then I like to just do my corners a little darker. It just makes your image pop a little bit more. So let me close this up so I don't get any ink where I don't want it. And let me show you the magic. When I take this off, my bunny is nice and clean. I'm going to stick it right in my case now so I don't lose it. And we're ready to assemble this cute little card. So I'm going to put this piece on first. I'm going to cut just a whisker off. Don't ask me how much that is. I always say about 1/8 of an inch. Alright. That looks good. So I want that to be centered right here. So I'm going to use my wet glue. Those of you that have a hard time with the wet glue, start in the center. Once you get control of it, then go out to the edges. I just like to use wet glue because it gives you a minute or two to make some changes, modifications as I like to call them. I'm going to just hold that there for a minute, and it only takes about 15 seconds. And then I'm going to put my little bunny on with some dimensionals. Got some right here. This card should fit in your standard envelope if you assemble it correctly. Your standard A2 envelope. Because see, it would go like this. But I personally usually put it, oops, I forgot to put this piece on. I personally put it in a bigger envelope. I always have some that are, I don't know where I get them, but some odd size envelopes. I think I get them at Goodwill or whatever in the craft section. Wherever I can find some odd envelopes. So this is going to go on the top. Just like that. And this is going to go like this. I want a little bit of the grass to show. So let's put this on. Now, if you didn't want, I'll show you a sample after where I use designer series paper instead of doing all of this stamping. So there's my sweet bunny. I'm going to put some more of tear and tape as close to that fold as I can. This is a really cute card to put in a gift too. Let's get some bone folder here. Pick off that protective coating. Now I don't attach this to the last minute. I want to make sure that this is straight. Which I got to do it upside down because I can't see over the camera. So I'm going to take my bone folder and burnish that. Make sure it's stuck well. And then I'm going to take a little bead of wet glue. Make sure this is nice and straight. Might be easier to stand it up. There we go. I'm going to hold that there for about 10 or 15 seconds. So there's the sample that I made with you. This was my original sample. And then my extra sample using designer series paper is right here. So instead of stamping, I just put designer series paper, and I have a lot of these little hearts left from a recent stamping stack, so I just thought that was sweet. I need a lot of Easter cards, so I don't mind. So those are your 3 options on that. Yeah, it is such a sweet card. I just love it. Alright, so I'm going to leave that there while I wash a few of these stamps because I need to use them again. So I hope everybody had a great day today. It was cold up here in Maine, I thought, a little on the cool side, kind of gray. But we're going to have a beautiful day by the end of the week. Okay. So those all look like they're clean. me just double check on my pad of scrap paper here that they're all clean, so I don't get a marriage with any other stamp pads. Okay, that looks good. Alright, so we're going to start with the next one. The next one is a fun fold as well. I'm making it in a different color on camera for you. But here's the sample. So you can see it's just pretty designer paper, but when you open it up, you get these pop-ups type. They look like they're suspended. It's window sheets. So, see if I can keep that in the view. So, you guys, you know when you get, I don't have a clear stamp set, I don't think you know when you get your clear stamp sets, they come on this thicker and flimsy. You want to save these now that they have put the pictures in the case, because that's what I use to make these 3 strips. These clear strips that you see here are 1 inch by 3 3/4 of an inch. So let me make sure I got 3. I do. Then you can use a scallop circle punch, or if you have layering circles, which is in the annual catalog, you can cut some circles out, and then you want your other circles to be able to fit on there. This beautiful die is probably one of my favorites. Anybody that knows me knows I've used this hundreds, I mean literally hundreds of times. It's from the Tasteful Touches dies. Right here. Probably every Stampin' Stack has at least one card with it. Alright, the designer series paper I'm using is from something Petals. My mind is a blank. Wait a minute, I think I got a cheat sheet for it. Hand penned. This is the designer paper, this is the back side. And then these are the coordinating colors with it. So that's what I'm using. I did emboss this beautiful soft succulent that many, many people like, using the folder of, make sure I got the right name, Ornated Floral. There's the item number if you need it. So I'm going to grab the fresh stamp pad that goes with this. Stamp my little critters. Sweet critters. Bring in my scratch pad again. Trying to keep this host code available so you can see it. So let's start with our sweet little chick. You're not going to get all of it. Just hold it there for about 10 or 15 seconds and let the ink gravitate. You don't have to push and mush. It will go. Patience. So there's my sweet chick. Now I'm going to have this happy duck. I made this into an Easter card, but you could easily make it into a baby card. I'm just setting that on my circle, letting the ink gravitate to the paper. This paper is so versatile, you can use it for so many things. Alright, let's get him out of the way. And then we have our sweet bunny again. Since I only need the top half, I don't really care if the bottom part doesn't get inked well. Cover that, and then I might, oh, I'll need it again to stamp, I think, the words. No, I'll probably do them in green. Do you always talk to yourself? I always talk to myself when I'm stamping. All right. So, in order to create this card, it is 2 pieces of cards, two card parts that are joined together. And as you can see, I didn't score them I did the same measurements, but if you're off on your cutting a little bit, this is what's going to happen, but it's okay. So we know we want this to be 4 1/4. So we want a 1 inch here. So this is a 5 1/2 by 5 1/4. So you need 2 of those pieces. Again, we're going to fold into the groove. So I'm going to finish off my stamping so I can get this box out of the way. I'm going to use a beautiful soft succulent that matches my cardstock. This white piece will be inside. Whoops, looks like I got something on that one. So I'm going to stamp it more towards the right side of my card because I will put a piece of designer series paper here. So that one aside, and then find my pretty label that I just showed you. Oh gosh. All right, maybe I'll come across it when I start putting stuff together. All right, so let's get these 3 things together first. You definitely need your heavy tape for this. So what I did is I put a piece across the top on both sides of each piece of that acetate or window sheets. People call it different things. But these, you get these free in the photopolymer stamp sets. So keep them, don't throw them out. And then I'm going to put a piece on here as well. Kind of towards the bottom. And then a piece towards the bottom of my images. A lot of parts, but it goes together fairly quickly. So we need to burnish this. You're going to take the protective coating off this one side, the protective coating off this, and you want this piece to be towards the bottom. So I'm going to put this about right there, not quite to the top, but near the top. You got 2 more to do. I don't take all of the adhesive off because my luck it would get stuck to, oops, I didn't put any on this, stuck to something that I didn't want it to be stuck to. So again, the adhesive on this is down below, and the adhesive on my sheet is up higher. Now I can take the adhesive off this. Whoops, I didn't burnish that one. So if you have a hard time getting your protective backing off, it's probably because it's not burnished enough. So you're going to see that this acetate, or window sheet, whatever you want to call it, is stuck between the two parts. I would not use my wet glue because this is a non-porous surface and it probably wouldn't stick very well. You really need heavy tape. Your strong double-sided tape. Last one. All right. So we have those already. So now I'm going to get my card bases ready. So with the flap up, you want to put your heavy duty tape across the bottom, not on the fold, but pretty close, as close to it as you can get. And then a second strip, I'm going to show you in just a minute, on the other edge. Let me just put a piece of paper here so you can see it. See how I have it not going over the edge, but close? You need to do that to both pieces. Okay, so I'm going to burnish this very well. And you're going to play with these for a minute. You want to make sure they're within the parameters of your card. Now, I wanted this one and this one to be a little bit lower, so I'm going to hold them together and just cut a piece off, about a ½ inch. Alright, so let's start on the ends. Get this tape off. There's one. I don't want it right on the fold, but I want this edge to be within the card. The same on this side. Whoops. Yeah, I got that one a little too close to the edge. Then the sweet bunny can go in the middle. So can you see how it's not quite on the edge? It's about, oh, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch maybe. Now you want to burnish those very good. Then this one with the flap down, just like we did on the other one. Let's burnish it. Take off that protective coating on both of them. Now, you don't want to risk that the folds are exact like I did. I think it's more important that the card line up correctly. Can you see how I'm lining it up there? And then you're going to burnish it. I'm off a little bit, but there's not much I can do about it. Then when you open it up, they pop up. So that tells me I need to put my cover here. What glue would you go away here? You could use either side of this paper. It is so pretty. With that, so you have a nice frame all the way around it. This is going inside. Decorate the inside of my card as well. So this one, again, I want a nice frame. Oops, I got a little too much over this way. Let's slide it over. That's why I like to use the wet glue whenever I can. It gives me a few minutes to make some changes. Where is that die cut I had? Alright, got the thing here. I guess I'll have to cut another one. I want to show you how I put my ribbon. This piece here is going to go over here. I want to cut a little piece of this. So these little scraps that you have sometimes, this is a great project to use to make the inside of your card pretty. So let's put some wet glue again. This is such a pretty saying too. It says, "May your days blossom with joy and happiness." So either decorate your envelopes or decorate the inside of your card, or do both. Make them pretty. You've spent all the time to create a beautiful creation for somebody you care or love about. Jazz it up is my... Oh, looks like I got to trim this just a little bit here. I can see it peeking out. So I usually cut my insert for the greeting a little bit smaller. This is 3 3/4 by 5. So let me take one more quick look, see if I can find that. Here it is. Yay! We found it. We found it. We want the Just Jade. And we want the Happy Easter. So I'm going to center it in the middle of my die cut. And then I'm going to put some ribbon on it. Every now and then I get the urge to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to use, since I had my chair and shape out, I'm going to put a piece of that right across the back. Burnish it. And then grab some ribbon. Put it across. Make a loop. Then I'm going to need another piece for this last loop. Burnish that as well. Oh, for goodness sakes, it's catching the ribbon, that's why. It's doing what I want it to do, but there we go. So I want that one to come back. And then I'm going to trim them a little bit so that they're going at the same angle. I always use ribbon scissors. My kids knew not to touch Mom's scissors, because it would be not nice. So I'm going to put some pop-ups behind this. It will help hold my ribbon down. Give it a little bit of dimension as well, which I always like. Alright. So that's a cute way to put your ribbon, something different instead of traditionally tying it on. Get all these scraps out of the way. Close up my card. That card, if you mail it, I'm sure it's going to take extra postage because there's a lot of weight on it. And then I'm on a kick of these sequins that I used last week. I just love them. So we're going to use some more this week. Let's do this one, I think. Add a little pop of color. Oops, I lost it. There we go. So there's the projects. Let me bring in the other cards, get all this stuff out of your way. So next week is Mystery Week. So I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to make. I'll surprise you. So this is the class tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please feel free to private message me. I will have these up on my Facebook page tomorrow. And you can always find the directions, the actual measurements on YouTube. Thank you. I'm so glad you guys like the cards. All right. Does anybody have any last questions before I sign off? This Sunday is the online yard sale again. So I hope you join me at 10 o'clock. Thank you so much, everybody. You have a good night. Take care of yourselves. Be kind, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.